It's been the longest year of Robert Clark's life. His two children were taken away from him by their mother on a family holiday in Colombia. Now he's fighting to bring them home.
I'd be getting home from work and I can hear those little feet running to the front door of the house, and he'd usually just go, "Daddy!"
And this is my daddy.
Yeah. That was all he wanted to do, was just me and him just wrestle and play with the toys. And coming home to that was, it was the best part of my day.
There's not a moment that goes by when Rob doesn't think about his children. Cheeky 4-year-old Benny, who loves spiders and action heroes. And giggly baby Lucia, who could melt any heart.
Oh, hungry.
But memories are all this dad has, because his kids have been abducted.
We were an Australian family and we went on a holiday, and they've been kidnapped.
Stolen from him, not by a stranger, but by their own mother.
Kids are not kidnapped. They are not.
Watching my brother go through this has been completely heartbreaking.
Tonight, the damning recordings.
Because I had all these plans from the beginning.
And a family's fight to get Benny and Lucia back home from a dangerous part of Colombia in South America.
It's a very unsafe place. It's a border town. It's got a high crime rate. There's almost no Westerners there. The Australian Embassy's it's a no-go zone, it's a red zone.
I was in love. It was a whirlwind.
Rob and Maria met through a mutual friend at a party. The connection was instant, and before too long, Benny was born.
He came out and you hear that cry, and it's just the best sound in the world. I was the first person to hug him, and we took him off and cleaned him, and it's just funny to think how someone so little has grown into the big boy that he is now.
You know you've got marshmallow stuck on your chin?
Me and him we were best friends. He was my little man.
Then little Lucia came along.
It was when I'd do the nighttime feed so that Maria could sleep. I really tried to keep her awake so she'd drink all the bottle. So it was tickling her and singing her songs.
Rob says every year they'd go on a family trip to Colombia to spend time with Maria's family. But their trip in February last year took a horrifying turn no one saw coming.
Maria said to me, "Let's take Benny to kinder so that he can play with some kids." The head of the kinder came down to give Benny a uniform. And I said to her, "Why do we need to buy a uniform for 2 weeks?" And she looked at me with this really strange look.
To protect himself, Rob claims he recorded what happened next.
You don't even have the birth certificates here.
Yes, they do. I brought all the papers because I had all these plans from the beginning.
It's not legal.
It's not about
You can't take my kids.
I know. Yes, I can.
And Rob rang us and told us that Maria had abducted the kids, confiscated the passport and got a restraining order on Rob.
Rob went from holiday to hell. His parents Murray and Alison say he had no option but to return home without Benny and Lucia.
It's a hard situation because most people think it's the girl that's been the victim, but 1 in 10, it's the male that's been the victim, and Rob's been a victim.
How could I have not seen it coming? I never thought she was capable of this.
Why do you think she did this?
I think beyond anything, she missed her family. Her mother was a big part of her life, and her mother can't travel. Her mother's under house arrest, so I'm sure that had something to do with it.
Late today, we called Maria in Colombia. She strongly denied kidnapping Benny and Lucia and told us the children are happy and healthy.
No, we are not going back. And I'm very afraid of going back there because I can't trust him.
But the law is on Rob's side.
And I've researched that Australia and Colombia were signatories of the Hague Convention. I started to think, okay, there's avenues here. You know, they can't just do this.
Parents can invoke the Hague Convention so that children are returned to their home country in the event of an abduction, and the courts of their home country can determine the parenting dispute. Rob's lawyer filed an application in Colombia shortly after the children were taken. A hearing was held in Maria's hometown of Ipiales.
I heard the judge say, "We find that the children have been illegally retained." And to me, I thought I'd won. I started crying. I thought, gee, it's happened, you know? And then he kept talking and there was a but.
The judge ruled that he would not order Benny and Lucia to be returned to Australia because too much time had passed and they'd effectively settled into a new environment, adding that it would be harmful to remove the children despite their wrongful retention. In court, accusations flew from both sides, which each of them have denied, making a messy situation even more difficult.
My children are the most important things in my life, so it's taken everything away.
Emily is Robert's sister. She's also a doctor and understands too well the impact this is having on the kids.
The evidence is there that this kind of trauma in childhood affects children for their entire lives.
It's also had a profound effect on Benny's cousin Sammy. The pair grew up together.
Abrázale goodbye.
I love him so much.
How do you explain the situation to a child?
You don't want to break her heart. And we all still have hope that he will come home.
There is hope for Robert and his family.
It rests on one chance to appeal the Colombian ruling. Family lawyer Sally Nichols is helping Robert.
What I have to hope is that the appeal court, if the facts that Robert has actually set out are accurate, that the appeal court applies the Hague Convention in the strict sense.
The Clark family are pleading with people to sign a petition to the President of Colombia, asking him to honour the country's commitment to the Hague Convention.
I say, I love you, little man. And I'm not going to stop fighting for you. I'm not going to stop fighting for you and Lucia.
That appeal in Colombia is supposed to happen this month, but Robert's waiting on a date. If you'd like to sign his petition, the link is on our website.